Well, the Champions League's back, isn't it? Hello guys, how are we getting on? My name is Aaron Kelly. Very welcome back to another video here on the channel today. Today we're going to be talking about the Champions League quarter-final ties. The tournament has begun over in Lisbon. Very much a World Cup / Euro style format. Knockout football, one leg, every match taking place in Lisbon between Sporting Lisbon Stadium and Benfica's Stadium. All I'm going to say is it's been very, very entertaining so far. In this video we're going to go through all 4 games and what I thought of them. Let's get into it. So the first game then starting off was Atalanta against PSG. Could Atalanta continue what would be a potentially incredible fairy tale story? Fortunately for them, they fell short thanks to a 2-1 defeat at the hands of Paris Saint-Germain, despite taking the lead after about 25 minutes through former Chelsea man Mario Pasalic with a great finish. Let's be honest, they were absolutely great value for their lead at that point, and the only reason they lost was due to 2 late goals, the first from Marquinhos and the second from Eric Maxime CHOUPO-MOTING. You remember him, Stoke fans? Oh my god, I couldn't believe. When we seen him warming up, I couldn't say to myself, can you imagine if this guy comes on and gets the winner with like Neymar and Mbappe and Mauro Icardi was on the pitch like before that as well. Can you imagine if CHOUPO-MOTING is the man that comes on and gets the victory for PSG? And he did it, and it was a brilliantly worked goal. Neymar into Mbappe, he pulls it across and it's pretty much a tap-in into an open net for CHOUPO-MOTING. But really, I mentioned Mbappe there, but up until Mbappe came on, Atalanta deserved to be in front and were the better side. Like, PSG didn't look very threatening going forward at all. Neymar was really the only spark, and he missed 3 very, very good chances, 3 one-on-ones in fact. He really did need Mbappe to come on to help him out, because Icardi and Sarabia really weren't helping him out, and they weren't getting any runners from the midfield either, because all 3 of PSG's midfielders were defensive-minded midfielders. Marquinhos, who isn't even a midfielder, he's actually a centre-back, Ander Herrera and Idrissa Gana Gueye. So, you know, he was never going to get much support from the midfield, but when Mbappe came on, he was absolutely brilliant. Obviously coming back from an injury, but still looked as sharp as ever. Quite sad for Atalanta. It was pretty much a trump card that PSG had to play. PSG didn't look too great defensively, I felt. Obviously, I don't really rate Prenzel Kimpembe, I never really have. Thiago Silva was playing centre-back as well. He's obviously leaving the club, getting on a bit now, so he wasn't at his best either. But fair play to Atalanta, they gave it a go, but PSG progressed to face RB Leipzig, and probably one of the biggest shocks of the round. Not quite the biggest shock of the round, but definitely up there was Leipzig's 2-1 victory over Atletico Madrid. And to be honest, there's not an awful lot to say about the first half. Leipzig were doing all the attacking. Atletico Madrid, despite being the favourites and despite having the more experienced players and, you know, overall, generally, you would have said the better players, were doing the typical Simeone sitting back in 2 banks of 4. Against RB Leipzig, like, I can expect it against Liverpool, and it worked a treat against Liverpool, but they were incredibly negative in a game where they really were the favourites. They did, I suppose you could say, get what they deserved just after the restart from half-time, and it was the Spaniard himself, Dani Olmo, with the goal for RB Leipzig. And from that moment on, Atletico really started to have to come out of their shell more, and that's the goal really that the game needed. And they brought on João Felix. I'm not sure if he was coming back from an injury as well, similar to Mbappe, but he came on and he made such a difference. He was the only player that looked like anyway decent. Like, their strike force was Llorente and Diego Costa. Costa was absolutely pocketed by the young man at centre-back for RB Leipzig, Upamecano, who looks a real player and looks a real prospect for a lot of Europe's top clubs. They'll definitely be looking at him, especially after his performance against Atletico Madrid the other night. But Felix came on, made such a difference, won a penalty and dispatched it beautifully himself. But with 10 minutes to go, it was a late winner again. This time it was RB Leipzig who did it, and it was the substitute American Tyler Adams with the goal. His shot from outside the box deflected off Stefan Savic past Jan Oblak to get Leipzig through, and fully deserved win for RB Leipzig. I have to say, they were the only team that looked like they wanted to win that game, looked like they were willing to put men forward and attack, and really the only spell of the game where they weren't on top was the first 10-15 minutes after João Felix came on. Their goal maybe possibly against the run of play, but fully deserved. Atletico Madrid, very disappointing from them, I will say that. I know they're a defensive team, I know that's what Diego Simeone has prided himself on for years. When you're playing against a team like Leipzig, and no disrespect, who have just lost their best player probably ever in Timo Werner, you're going to be favourites for the tie, you'd imagine, by quite a distance. You need to start being a bit more adventurous, because if you don't, Like, you're going to be picked apart, and they were. And Leipzig, very, very happy for them. They faced PSG in the semi-final. Now, the next night was the Barcelona game, but we'll save that to the last because I actually want to have a little bit more of a longer chat about the Barcelona game. We're going to move on to last night's game, which was Manchester City being knocked out by Lyon. Man City, probably the favourites alongside Bayern Munich going into the competition, and this is the one trophy really that Manchester City want. This is the one trophy that Pep wants. He hasn't won it since 2011, despite spending 2 more years with Barcelona after winning it in 2011, then 3 or 4 years with Bayern Munich, and now this is what, his 3rd or 4th year with Manchester City. He still hasn't done it, especially with, you know, the riches and players he's had. Lyon were a goal to the good at half-time thanks to Maxwell Cornet's 25th minute goal. It was a lovely finish from Cornet, who was up and down that left-hand side. He was actually all over the place at times. I've seen him at right back, I've seen him in the cam role. I wasn't really too sure where Cornet was meant to be playing last night. I think his designated role was left back, but he was drifting around, and he was possibly one of the best players on the pitch, I would say. After the restart, City pushed and did get their equaliser then through Kevin De Bruyne. This was a beautifully worked goal. Ball in over the top from Riyad Mahrez to Raheem Sterling, who holds it up, pulls it back to the edge of the box to De Bruyne, who meets it, side foot, beautiful finish into the bottom corner. And at that point, I really did think Man City had the firepower and, you know, the momentum to go on and win this game, and they really did press Lyon high and had all the possession, had all the chances, and it was really Lyon's goal that came against the run of play. And it was Moussa Dembele, the former Celtic man, to latch in on the end of a through ball over the top, rolling it past Ederson through his legs, and there was a long pause through VAR to check whether or not there was a foul on Aymeric Laporte in the build-up, but I think it's one of them. It's a tangle of legs. A lot of people are going to have their different opinions on it. I think I've definitely seen them giving us free kicks, but I do think Dembele has his eyes on the ball. It's one of those, lads, it's a 50-50. I've seen refs give it, I've seen them let it go like they did the other night. Brilliant finish by Dembele, and he got a second one then, and this one is not a great one as far as Ederson will be concerned. It was a shot that came in, Ederson parries it, Dembele follows up, not a very convincing looking finish, but 3-1 is how it finished, and Manchester City with a shock exit.
I think we'll win 4. I can't see anybody getting anywhere near us next season. Liverpool had the greatest season in their entire life, and they still came second. It's too funny. I don't think Liverpool get near us. I don't think anybody does.
It's not as if they didn't have chances. I remember Gabriel Jesus missed a really good chance at the back post with a free volley. Without a doubt, the biggest chance falling for Raheem Sterling. An open goal miss that can only be described as fucking incredible. We all thought, we're all sitting in the sitting room watching the game, we all thought it was in. Everybody, I'm sure, around the world thought Raheem Sterling had scored there, but he couldn't manage it. Blazed it over the bar with a whole goal gaping for him to aim at. And at that point it was 2-1. It was one of the most incredible 60 seconds of football you'll ever see. Literally, he missed that chance, and then Dembele went up and added Lyon's third. Raheem Sterling will definitely be livid this morning, and definitely it'll be a bitter pill to swallow for him. But for me, Pep Guardiola got it completely wrong last night, and he's not completely immune to criticism. Obviously, he's one of the best managers of our generation. We can't question that at all. But what we can question is his decision to play 5 at the back against a team like Lyon. Again, no disrespect to Lyon. They went out last night and they absolutely smashed it. But again, it's kind of similar to what I was talking about the Atletico Madrid situation. They were clearly the better side with the better players. Be more positive. Like, they played 5 at the back. They played Walker, Fernandinho, Laporte, Garcia and João Cancelo at left back. Like, why play 5 at the back? I really don't understand. When you had quality like Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, David Silva, all on the bench, I really struggle to understand Pep's mindset there. Man City still had those 2 or 3 really good chances. If you think back to the Jesus one on the volley, and particularly the Raheem Sterling one. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, because obviously I'm sure Raheem Sterling's getting a lot of stick this morning. A player of his quality and the player, like, you know, the season he's had, he'll be very disappointed he hasn't been able to finish that one off. Right then, let's talk about this final game then, shall we? Barcelona 2, Bayern Munich 8. Barcelona's heaviest victory since, I think, 1946 or something along those lines. Ah, incredible. I genuinely couldn't believe what I was watching. When every other goal that went in for Bayern Munich just felt like every goal was getting more and more like a five-a-side game. And it was an incredible start to the game because it was very, very much end-to-end. Bayern Munich took the lead after just 4 minutes through Thomas Muller. Barcelona equalised 3 minutes later when a Jordi Alba cross was turned into his own net, quite brilliantly may I add, by David Alaba. And then Bayern Munich took the lead after just 21 minutes through Ivan Perisic. And again, defending just absolutely awful. Ter Stegen gets a touch to it. Couldn't do anything about it. It was 3-1 then, just about 5 or 6 minutes later through Serge Gnabry, who's had an unbelievable season with Bayern Munich, and this one was a volley into the bottom corner. Again, just longly out-muscled by Gnabry, and it's just amateur defending. It's just one ball in over the top. Gnabry gets in on the end of it, finishes it absolutely brilliantly, and then it was 4-1 just before the break when Thomas Muller added a second, turning in a cross from the right hand side. 4-1 at half time, and I was genuinely convinced that Barcelona really didn't have it in them to come back in the second half. They were making the same mistakes time and time again. They were trying to play out from the back when Bayern Munich were clearly pressing the Barcelona kickout. They insisted on playing it short from the kickouts to Piqué and Longley, who would just give it back to Ter Stegen anyway, and his kicking was absolutely awful. Like, I was convinced Marc-Andre Ter Stegen was one of those goalkeepers who was more than comfortable to play out from the back with his feet, and nearly every time he had the ball at his feet, he just panicked and kicked it long, and more often than not, he was just kicking it into Thiago in the middle of the park, and Bayern would just pick Barcelona off with passes from there. Barca did make it 4-2 then, and for about a couple of minutes made it look like it could get quite interesting. Brilliantly finished off by Luis Suarez. Messi into Jordi Alba, he pulls it back. Suarez, little fake shot, buries it with his left foot. Brilliant finish. Game on, but I still never really thought Barcelona could actually get back into it. And my suspicions were proven correct when Joshua Kimmich made it 5-2 to Bayern Munich, thanks to some brilliant work by Alphonso Davies down the left hand side, skipping past Nelson Semedo a couple of times, making an absolute fool out of him, pulls it back, all the Barcelona defenders drawn to the ball, and Kimmich can just tap it in to an empty net because Ter Stegen was, you know, way more closer to his, his near post than he needed to be. And then it just got completely embarrassing from this point on. We were questioning when Robert Lewandowski was going to get his goal. He did with about 8 minutes to go, as well as current loanee at Bayern Munich from Barcelona, Philippe Coutinho, getting not one, but 2 goals, plus an assist. As if it couldn't get any fucking worse. Imagine letting the man who you've literally ridiculed for not being good enough to play for your club, letting him come on and make an absolute fool out of your back four. I mean, it's not hard when you have a back four of Semedo, Piqué, Longley and Jordi Alba. But still, Coutinho came on and got 2 goals, and it was, I mean, I would be lying if I said I didn't find it absolutely hilarious. Coutinho's 2 goals made it 8-2 on the night, and I don't think the Barcelona coach Setien has been sacked yet. I'd be lying if I said I didn't think Bayern Munich were going to absolutely trash Barcelona, because I definitely think they were. I was expecting maybe a 3-4-0. That would be fairly embarrassing enough. But 8-2? Like, how can you let your team concede 8 in a Champions League quarter-final? Not only just any team though, Barcelona, a team of such high footballing pedigree. Like, they bullshit all this way about how Barcelona is not a club. It's more than a club, it's a way of life, it's a way of playing football. In the early 2010s, that was the case, because Barcelona were the best team in the world. Like, that 2010-2011 team was the best team I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. Like, that Champions League final against Manchester United at Wembley in 2011, quite possibly the best team I've seen play. Like, Busquets at his prime, Xavi, Iniesta, Puyol at the back, Messi, Villa, and Pedro as the front three. Like, absolutely unbelievable. Now, I'm seeing a lot of people blaming Lionel Messi, alright? And admittedly, it wasn't Messi's best night by a fucking stretch of the imagination, but I really can't pick one Barcelona player that genuinely covered themselves in any sort of glory. If you take Messi's 25 goals and 21 assists out of that Barcelona team this season, where the fuck are they? I tell you one thing, they're certainly not in the Champions League quarterfinals, and they're certainly not even near a title race in La Liga. So, I mean, if you take those goals and assists out of Barcelona this season, good chances they're probably not even finishing top 4 in Spain. So, let's be honest here, Messi I really don't think is the problem here. The problem is defensive arrogance. That, like, thinking, oh well, we're Barcelona, we're good enough to play out, even though we've got Lewandowski, Perisic, Muller, Gnabry all pressing us from the goal kick, we're good enough to play out. The best keepers in the world know when to just get rid of it. And Ter Stegen looked afraid to just clear it the other night. Like he always felt like, oh shit, I have to find a pass. I can't just clear it out. That's not the Barcelona way. Like, there comes a time and a place where you need to just get it up the pitch, get it out play, and regroup if you even have to. I think Barcelona were incredibly arrogant once again. Like, I feel like we're talking the same story about Barcelona year in, year out now. You remember the Liverpool 4-0 last season? The complete capitulation against Roma the season before. And I think the season before that they completely capitulated against Atletico Madrid as well. So this isn't a new thing. This is why I wasn't, you know, in any way hopeful for Barcelona that they were going to get anything from Bayern Munich. And I should just say, we're talking a lot about Barcelona, but Bayern Munich deserve a huge amount of credit. Like, there's a lot of teams in Europe who play against Barcelona, get these chances from Barcelona mistakes and not be ruthless enough to capitalise upon them. Every time Barcelona slipped up, Bayern Munich were there. They had the quality of players. They had, you know, literally the best players in the world in on it. What a Coutinho's goal. Messi loses the ball. Something that doesn't happen very often. 2 or 3 passes later, Coutinho's in and it's in the back of the net. Ruthlessness. And this is why Bayern Munich at this point should win the Champions League. And if they don't, I'll be absolutely shocked. But the way this quarterfinals has gone, you wouldn't be quite sure. So Tuesday and Wednesday is when the semi-finals are taking place. Then PSG are playing RB Leipzig, I think, in the first game. And then it's Bayern Munich versus Lyon. So it's Germany against France in both semi-finals. And I really can't wait for it, as I'm very much looking forward to it. It's been incredibly entertaining so far. Very much enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on the games in the comments section down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Also subscribe if you're new, which 60% of you are not subscribed to the Aaron Kelly channel. What are you doing? So as I said, lads, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and as always, I will catch you later.